Romeo and Juliet. Now on to the San Marino Grand Prix.
The Dino Ferrari circuit at Imola near Bologna, scene of the 4th World Championship Grand Prix of 1982 and the first in Europe. 60 laps of the 3.13-mile circuit, and unlike last year, the weather's good, with clear blue skies and sunshine. As ever with any motor race in Italy, there's a giant crowd, drawn here, paradoxically enough, partly by the fact that instead of a full grid of 26 cars, there are only 14. Because the bitter political wrangling which has dominated Grand Prix racing this year in South Africa, Brazil and at Long Beach has continued here. So, as a result of Nelson Piquet and Keke Rosberg being disqualified from their first and second places in Brazil, the mainly British Formula One constructors teams have almost all withdrawn from the race. The politics continue, but the race is on. A World Championship race at that, because the San Marino Grand Prix will definitely count for points. And after the revisions following the Brazil judgment, Alain Prost, with 2 wins from 3 races, leads the championship with 18 points, 6 ahead of Niki Lauda, who, by the way, may yet lose his Long Beach winning points due to another protest. Then it's Keke Rosberg and John Watson tying for 3rd, ahead of Carlos Reutemann, who's now retired, and Michele Alboreto with equal points in 5th place. And significantly, of those 6 drivers, only 2 are competing at Imola today, Alain Prost and Michele Alboreto. And the front 2 rows of the grid are occupied by the 4 turbo cars which have caused all the contention, Renault and Ferrari. In pole position, top left of your picture, is René Arnoux, the French driver in the turbocharged Renault. In second position on the grid, Alain Prost. In 3rd and 4th places, the 2 turbocharged Ferraris of Gilles Villeneuve and Didier Pironi. Then in an absolutely superb 5th position, the blue and white Tyrrell of Michele Alboreto. And in 6th place, just a little bit back from Alboreto, Bruno Giacomelli in the red and white Alfa Romeo V12. You can just see the front of the 7th place car on the grid on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And it is Andrea De Cesaris, the man who occupied pole position in the Long Beach Grand Prix, and now they are off around the warm-up lap.
Yes, there they go. 4 turbo cars on the first 4 places of the grid, quite a lot faster than any of the normally aspirated Ford engine cars. I think Arnoux is something like 3.5 seconds quicker than the fast one. So the turbos here, it's a real power circuit, have a big advantage. They've got good long straights and slow corners at the end of them to get their teeth in. They're doing about 180 when they come into this corner when they arrive in the braking area. The row, of course, that's depleted the field down to about half its normal size is another tragic blow in a long line of political wranglings, and possibly the most serious that we've had yet. To try and explain it to you, what has happened is that in the constant search for improvement of the cars and ways to get around rules and things like that, the FOCA teams, that's the Formula One Constructors Association, that's most of the small private British-based teams, with their engines, normally aspirated engines that they've got, they can get their cars lighter than the official weight limit. And so what the rules have always stated is that you're allowed to top up coolants and lubricants after the race. If you run low on water and oil and you're under the weight limit, you can fill them up. So what they've done, most of the cars who aren't here have been running large water tanks to cool the brakes, which they boil the water off right at the beginning of the race. That then takes another 20, 30 pounds off the weight of the car. They run it empty during the race, and at the end of the race, they top it up. Now, under the rules, this is perfectly legal. It's hardly within the spirit of the regulations, but then regulations aren't written to be observed in spirit. But in fact, now what happened is that the turbo teams, that's Ferrari mainly, who have led the fight, and Renault, who have never been able to design chassis as well as the British designers, can't get their cars down to the weight limit, so they put in a protest against this. Now, the governing body then sat down and turned it down the first time, and then Ferrari appealed. And what happened was, after the appeal, Ferrari came along and said, we won't race, we'll pull out if it doesn't go our way. And so they bowed to that, and all of a sudden, Sofoka have pulled out instead.
Well, there we go. There are the two turbocharged Renaults, followed by the Ferraris. And the big question in this race at the moment is, are the tyres of the Ferrari going to last the 60 laps? When the red lights go on, there will be between 4 and 7 seconds. Watch René Arnoux in pole position, top left, and Alain Prost. See how their turbos get away. There is Derek Warwick's car. It looks as though it has a dead engine, and that must be a repetition of the trouble that he had in practice. And Riccardo Paletti had trouble getting away in his Osella. As they go up towards the Tamburello, it is sure enough the two Renaults in the lead, and it's a beautiful start by Alain Prost, the man who is leading. Through they go. The two Ferraris are getting up. Down round the Rettifilo, the two Ferraris right up behind the second Renault. Brian Hinton has had trouble in the Tyrrell getting away from the line, and one of the Ferraris is now pulling up and up into second place, and it's Villeneuve. And in fourth position, it is Didier Pironi. Michele Alboreto is in fifth place, and it is René Arnoux, the pole position man, through the Aqua Minerale bends, chased by Gilles Villeneuve in second position. In third place, the second Ferrari, Didier Pironi. Then there is Alain Prost. In fifth position, it is Michele Alboreto. They come up to the Variante Alta now. Now they plunge downhill into the Rivazza section, where there is almost literally a big hole in the circuit where it has been chewed up by the tyres of the cars. These cars develop some 500 and more brake. There's the mark. You can see the white line. Watch for it on the next laps. There are the two Ferraris, second and third. Villeneuve is the leader there. In second position behind René Arnoux, Didier Pironi, Alain Prost. They're coming through to complete one lap with 59 to go. And look at the lead that Arnoux has. Derek Warwick did not complete one lap, and already there in the pits is Andrea de Cesaris, the man who led Long Beach so well for so long, having been in pole position. So it looks as though de Cesaris is in trouble. It looks as though Brian Hinton is out of the race. But there is still quite a close fight for the first 5 places. Who is in fourth position? Is it Prost or is it Alboreto? Look at the corner underneath the crane. There go the two Ferraris, and it looks...
Yes, I think it was Alboreto. It looked like a blue car. Yes, here comes Alboreto coming through. He's moved up to fourth, but Prost seems to have disappeared. So maybe he was in trouble and limping round. I didn't see him behind it. We haven't had a shot to hold. Yes, I think Prost has stopped somewhere. We don't yet know what's happened to him or haven't seen what's happened.
Prost has come into the pits. We haven't... There he is. Prost into the pits. And it's tyres already. That's very, very interesting. And the Ferraris are going to be even tougher on the tyres.
Yes, they were quite confident about their tyres before. In fact, Prost and Arnoux, or certainly Prost, qualified on his race tyres. But it's not tyres. No, I think you'll find tyres they change as a matter of course. It's a routine thing in a pit stop that you always go quicker on fresher tyres. Perez is past Villeneuve.
Didier Pironi then somehow and out of our vision has got up into second position. Lap 22. Now, René Arnoux leads Didier Pironi.
They're very close this time. Pironi's right up the Renault, but you see how the Renault gets that little bit of power down that little bit earlier and just gets out of that corner. But Villeneuve is having a go, and I think Villeneuve is probably going to pass his teammate Pironi. Pironi's finally spotted him, completely side by side, and Villeneuve will have the inside line as they come into the hairpin. But
and they hang on together, and that was at a speed of some 180 miles an hour, and Villeneuve is through into second place again. He has regained his second place on lap 26.
oh,
Giacomelli
parked off the course for reasons unknown, but he doesn't look as if he's had any sort of an accident. It looks like a complete car, probably just a mechanical breakdown.
And Villeneuve, the Charger, is back in control because he is forcing the pace now, without a doubt. He's got past and pulled away from Pironi, and he's really harrying Arnoux.
It's up here that he seems to be quicker than Arnoux. Let's see if he can have a go up here, but Arnoux seems to be moving to the left to protect the line into the next corner. There he goes. Yes, he did. That has always been his spot where he's performed best. So Villeneuve takes the lead. Now let's Pironi's having a little go as well.
There's Bruno Giacomelli. We've seen a lot of Giacomelli this year with his helmet off, watching the rest of the racing. And now they're through into lap 30. This is the half distance.
Yes, I think the Renault, no, he maybe isn't quite close enough, but Pironi's getting a bit of a tow from the Renault. He's right up there, and we could see a three-way braking match down at the end of the straight. You see, there goes Arnoux. He is quicker on the straight, and he's got Villeneuve. And so has Pironi, possibly.
Well, almost
goodness gracious me.
Almost in line abreast, and we had two changes there. Arnoux through to the lead, Pironi through to second.
This is great stuff, great dicing. And Pironi, jolly nearly did both of them. He was within a whisker, but he's now lost second place again. Poor old Pironi. Every time he does anything positive, it seems to just sort of go straight back at him. Anyway, Arnoux now re-established in the lead. He is definitely the hardest man to pass. The Renault seems to be quicker on the straight, marginally, than the Ferrari, but that small little margin is its effect is very big, because he came from he overtook then from a distance behind from which the Ferrari couldn't have threatened had they started back to front in that position.
2.4 seconds separate the leader Arnoux and the third place man Pironi, who you don't need me to tell you because you can see for yourself, has closed right up on Villeneuve, and he's going to take him. Is he? Yes. Pironi got his nose ahead, but Villeneuve is on the inside line. There are certainly no team orders because Pironi is now up into second position. Pironi, who has won one Grand Prix in his career, as compared with Gilles Villeneuve, who has won 6. But Pironi, who joined Ferrari last year from what was the Ligier team and is now the Talbot team, we're seeing now Pironi having taken Gilles Villeneuve and moving up into second place. And this gets now, Arnoux is held back and he's got the two Ferraris right behind him.
But they're having a go, but it lets Pironi get right behind the Renault, and we're going to have a three-way fight down at the other end of the straight with a bit of luck once more.
Sacré bleu, nom de Dieu, I can hear Arnoux saying metaphorically, will you get out of my way? Salazar, actually. It's Salazar.
Yes, because I tell you what, Villeneuve is perfectly placed as well. He's getting the tow.
And
there's pushing and shoving. He's put him on the grass. And Arnoux blocking it all up.
Zap, zap,
What a
zap,
shame.
they go past. And as one, the Renault and the two Ferraris take the Chilean. Those three up front, Arnoux, Pironi and Villeneuve, closer actually as three than they have been at almost any other part of the race, except for once that classic point where we got two changes. Arnoux down and Pironi up. And the leaders now come through to complete the 2/3 lap distance race, and this is Arnoux. Arnoux leads. Pironi second. Villeneuve third.
And I think Villeneuve might just be close enough to pick up the draft from Pironi and have a go at him as they come down to the hairpin. Yes, he's reasonably well placed, so we're going to get a change of second place here by the look of things. Yes, he's also got the right side of the track to attack the corner, but Pironi's fighting back. There's certainly no team tactics driving here. They're both going at it hammer and tongs, and somehow I just fancy Villeneuve to be a little bit more capable of finding a way around Arnoux than Pironi, who was there for a few laps, but never really made much of an impression, except, of course, when the back marker was causing trouble.
Replay. Now, let's look at this. Villeneuve comes out of the slipstream of Pironi's car to the left. As we see Arnoux come into sight, Villeneuve on the outside of the bend, taking the longer way round, but now he's on the inside of the left-hander. Pironi has to give way. Well, this is where the Ferrari nevertheless seems to have the power, and it's significant that both the Renaults and the Ferraris got absolutely massive braking systems with twin calipers on each disc, front and rear, whereas, for instance, the Tyrrell, which is the leading 3-litre car, puts far less stress on the brakes and has got single caliper brakes, for those of you who are technically inclined. But never mind that for a moment, because the battle for the lead continues on lap 44. And Pironi, who had dropped back, I guess, James, you were right, and Pironi was taking just a short breather, because the gap is far less than it was between the second, and there's that puff of smoke again.
A bit more than before, I thought, coming out of the Renault there. So we'll keep that one monitored. We'll have a look at that. But I didn't see as big a one before. Did you, Murray?
No, I did not. I've noticed it for some time, but it was much more significant there, and it is much more... There he goes again. Watch the Renault, everybody, very carefully. Watch the back of the car, and Villeneuve is going to go through and take the lead here, I believe.
Yes, I think the Renault's in trouble. He seems to have slowed down. He's not producing the power. It's turbo's blown up now. That's a very spectacular sight, but that is goodbye, René Arnoux. Don't set the poor Ferrari on fire. What a great shame. What a terrific race Arnoux driven, but I'm afraid that is the end of that for him. So we're going to have to see how well the two Ferraris can fight each other. And, healthy little blaze there. You think he's going
Sorry, James, exactly the same thing happened in practice. A turbo blew and an oil line caught fire, and Arnoux was out of that car like a jackrabbit. The Imola administration is absolutely magnificent, and it is manifested by what you're seeing now. There are lots of stations around the circuit with doctors and fire marshals, and poor René Arnoux must be both hyped up and bitterly disappointed and frustrated. He has driven a superb race.
And Villeneuve made a mistake. He just went wide, lost traction, and Pironi nipped through. Just a little mistake from Villeneuve, and that's what it's cost him. It's cost him the lead. Now, let's see if he can fight back.
On lap 47, and it is Pironi leading Villeneuve by 0.768 seconds. They're closing up to a tail ender. In third position now, upper place, of course, with Arnoux out, has gone Alboreto in third position. In fourth place, it is Jean-Pierre Jarier. In fifth place, it is Salazar. In sixth position, it is Winkelhock. And then next up, it's Teo Fabi, who is back in the running, notwithstanding the fact that he's been in the pits for 7 laps.
Well, we've got a back marker in the way, which can always liven things up, as we've seen so often in the past. And Villeneuve is right on terms and is perfectly placed to launch his attack, because he, I'm quite sure, won't settle willingly for second, and will do all he can to rectify the situation. Well, that's how he'd view it anyway. But the back marker, in fact, has not got in the way, and I would back the Ferraris to just go past him on the straight.
Jarier, Jean-Pierre Jarier, the Frenchman in the Italian Ostella car, man with an enormous amount of experience, now does move over and does let Pironi through and does let Villeneuve through, and there is therefore no change for first and second. And see how Gilles Villeneuve is pushing Pironi.
Yes, he didn't get out of there quite as well as I think he hoped. I think he was hoping to get really quick. Ferrari's coming in. Yeah, Villeneuve, that's where he just put a wheel off, lost traction, had to lift off the throttle, and Pironi's
leads out into the long, sweeping, goes on for a long, long time, left-hander, the Tamburello. Fifth gear, they build up to nearly 190 miles an hour on this section, up to the Rettifilo.
Yeah, Villeneuve's well placed now. He's picking up the draft well. He's going to be alongside. Which side's Peroni going to keep? Peroni, I think, has made him go the way he shouldn't have done. The long around, Villeneuve's inside. Ooh! Absolutely side by side. But Villeneuve's got the line up the hill into the next corner.
And look at the ATS right in the line of both of them, and Villeneuve takes his opportunity, comes out to the left, and it could be that Peroni's going to be balked, and they go through absolutely together, and Villeneuve leads again. Another change in the lead, and it's on lap 49, and the French-Canadian has put one across Peroni, and I think we have to put some of the blame there onto the ATS, because he certainly didn't make it at all easy for either of the two Ferrari drivers, but how brilliantly Gilles Villeneuve took his opportunity on lap 49. And Alboreto, there he is now 45 seconds behind the fight for the lead. I remind you that earlier on in this race, I said that man, Alboreto, could not only do well, but could conceivably even win it, and I don't retract a word of that, because the way the two Ferraris are going now, which indicates a 10/10 effort from the drivers and a 10/10 strain on the machinery, we could still... And look at that! Peroni and Villeneuve absolutely together.
Peroni's in the lead. Peroni's just nipped through. Unfortunately, the director was away, but Villeneuve is going to respond here, possibly. So I would suspect that what happened, that was on the straight, I would suspect that Villeneuve made a bit of a mistake coming out of the complex before the pits, came out a bit slowly, and Peroni had the chance to pick it up. So we've definitely got a fight, because I don't think Villeneuve's the sort of man to take much notice of slow signals from the pit, and I would think that he'll desperately want to fight back. He'll be mindful of championship points and all the other implications.
And at the end of this lap, lap 57, there are going to be but 3 laps to go. 58, 59, 60. And the crowd, which came here hoping to see this, but I think even the most optimistic Italian could surely not have expected his beloved Ferraris to be in first and second positions, given that they were up against the two enormously successful turbocharged Renaults, which were ahead of both the Ferraris on the start grid. And those cars, of course, were the World Championship leader Alain Prost and René Arnoux, who led for so long. Well, they've seen it, and now we go into lap 58.
Yeah, Villeneuve's still pretty well placed. He may be able to pick up the draft from there. You see, the closer you are to the car in front, of course, the better tow you get. But Villeneuve's pulled right up now. He's going to sweep down the outside. They're going to arrive together. And can Peroni push him? Oh, nice as he was. Villeneuve wasn't so far off, giving him one up the back then. But Peroni is defending that position with all he's got.
There's going to be, I imagine, a quite tense interview between the Ferrari management and Mr. Peroni at the end of this race, when he blandly said, I didn't see any signal, I just kept going as best I could. And how very, very good it is, because Peroni now, who had Villeneuve right up his exhaust pipe just a few yards ago, has now got that car length ahead of Villeneuve, which can make all the difference. This lap 58, down to the Rivazza again, the double left-hander when they've gone underneath the bridge, over the rough patch again. Villeneuve still right with Peroni, and he's undoubtedly going to challenge, I suspect, as they come up to the Traguardo, which is where they've done it again, right at the end before, right at the end of the lap.
Yes, Villeneuve's really battling away now. Just over 2 laps to go.
Into lap 59. Is it...
Yeah, he's well placed now. He's right behind him, and he's going to get by on the straight, but can Peroni defend his situation down to the corner? They're going to arrive together with Villeneuve with just the advantage. He's going to be a little bit in front.
And he's done it exactly as he did it before. He was on the outside on the right-hander, on the left side on the left-hander. That gave Villeneuve the advantage, which he has taken. And now he's keeping his foot stuck right in the carburetor, rather the fuel injection. And now he's got to keep ahead of Pironi, not just for this lap, but the next lap as well. And my guess is that he will do just that, because Pironi has been second most of the time.
Yeah, what Pironi's going to have to do is to be very well placed as they come onto the long straight in that combination corners, those combination corners before the pits. He's fighting well, he's well placed now, he's just got to hold that position, not get any further behind Villeneuve, but he's dropped back a bit. He's got to start within sort of 4 lengths of Villeneuve when they come onto the main straight past the pits. If he can do that, he'll get him on the straight.
And he's certainly going to be within 4 lengths. This is the last part of the last lap but one.
Yeah, the problem is, of course, being the car behind, he's further than that behind than that now, and of course he doesn't get quite the same amount of grip. Can he close right up? Can he get himself into position? He's not badly placed. If he can just get the power down nicely, he's all right. He's got a chance, but he didn't get the power on quite as he would have liked to done. He's not quite close enough to sling right past Villeneuve, but
This is lap 60, the last lap. We are around the Tamburello, and see Pironi now. He's going through.
He's got to come down the inside. He's got him. Oh, he's going wide. Oh, fantastic stuff. They've changed places on 2 laps running, and Pironi now, all he has to do now is keep it pointing the right way. And no mistakes, because there really isn't a passing place. Unless Villeneuve can have a go up here, there aren't really any more passing places on the lap. So it looks as if Pironi's done it.
The last of the late breakers, Pironi has shown himself to be with that masterly manoeuvre on the last lap in this San Marino Grand Prix. They're through the Acqua Minerale bends for the last time. The crowd is really cheering them home. Ferrari looks as though it's going to win. Ferrari looks as though it's going to be second. Look at the flags waving. It's a long, long time since Ferrari had the double, first and second. And it looks as though Gilles Villeneuve, as they come down underneath the bridge, down to the Rivazza for the last time, is going to have to give best to his teammate Didier Pironi, and that it's going to be a win for the Belgian, for the Frenchman for the second time in his career. But Villeneuve could still do it. He's going to try and go through on the inside. These are the closing stages. They're into the Traguardo now. And no, I don't think Villeneuve can possibly do it.
I tell you, Pironi nearly blew it. He made a mistake there, terrible, on that corner before the combination, and Villeneuve was nearly past. But there we go. Didier Pironi wins. Magnificent race, terrific entertainment. But what a shame we hadn't got a full field.
Indeed, yes. But in spite of that, and thank heavens, and see, all the way round now is going to be a very, very happy Italian crowd that goes home, and rightly so. Pironi wins in the Ferrari. There is the second place man, Villeneuve, in the Ferrari, and already Pironi's... I've never seen anybody do that as quickly as that. Pironi is either very hot or he wants the crowd justifiably and understandably to see his face. But his helmet is off to take the plaudits of the crowd on the wind-down lap. And let us establish that it is an Italian 2 in third position, as distinctive and as meritorious a drive by Michele Alboreto, finishing third in the Tyrrell, as Villeneuve in second place, and Pironi here the winner. So, a win for Pironi, second for Villeneuve, third for Alboreto, fourth for Jean-Pierre Jarier, fifth for Eliseo Salazar, and sixth for Winkelhock in the ATS. Here are the championship points. Alain Prost still leads with 18 points from Niki Lauda, who's not here today, with 12 points. Alboreto moves up into third place, equal with the race winner Pironi, 10 points each. Keke Rosberg, who may lose points because of a protest that is in now, is nevertheless in fifth place, equal with John Watson on 8 points. Seventh equal, Reutemann, who's retired, and Gilles Villeneuve, who finished second here today. James, we've seen an absolutely magnificent race, perhaps better than we really deserved and could be expected, but there's no disguising the fact that Grand Prix racing is split in every different direction. Where do you think we're going from here?
Well, it is really difficult, as you say. I think we're split, really. There are three three factions involved now in the running of the sport, because the Formula One Constructors Association have split with the major manufacturing teams. That's mainly Renault and Ferrari, including Alfa Romeo, and some of the smaller teams, and they're at loggerheads with each other. And then in the middle of it all, between them, sits the FISA, which is the governing body, which at the moment is not strong enough to, or well enough run, or good enough in its ideas to control the other two parties, the two groups of team owners, who are fighting. So we've got a three-way fight, which is developing. I mean, this is just the last nail into a coffin that's already got quite a few in. And quite frankly, I don't see any real way out of this. They're always going to fight. They're going to use everything they can. The governing body has proved consistently they can't control them and won't. And I think what we've got to do is I think that all the parties should, at this stage, seek a new way to run the sport, because it's manifestly proved it won't work like this.
Well, there's this big conference at Casablanca next Wednesday, which is supposed to be putting things right. Are you saying you can't see that happening?
I can't see that happening there. I think they'll fight, and I mean, we've got to the point now where we've got threats, counter-threats, threats being carried out. We've ended up with only half a field here. I think really what the sport needs to do is to go more to the lines of American-type sports, where they run professionally by one strong dictator who dictates the whole thing with the benefit of all parties concerned as best he can. You will always get some conflicts of interest, but in that stage we've got to have somebody who can put their foot down. We need a professional governing body. FISA, as it's structured now, as it was structured previously, has not been able to control these people who've got big financial vested interests, and that's what they're going to have to do. And I really think that the only real way out is if they can sit down and devise a new way to administer the sport properly.
So, James Hunt's views on the political problems of modern Grand Prix racing, but confirmation of the fact that the San Marino Grand Prix was brilliantly won by Didier Pironi in the Ferrari from his teammate Gilles Villeneuve, with Michele Alboreto finishing highest up in his career in third position. And we now look forward to the Belgian Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time and just hope that it's going to be as good as San Marino was.